let's go through all three phases of the game.
Okay.
What's the Niners' number one issue on offense? The O-line just had its best game, but it's not a perfect offense. So what's the number one issue? Is it the relative lack of home run speed that results in them sometimes having not enough space on the field? Is it the play calling? Is it the offensive line struggles from time to time where they've given up? McKivitz has had a bad game. Pooney's had a bad game. Brendel's had a bad game. It seems like Banks has had a bad game. What's their number one issue? I mean, it's a pretty good offense, right? I mean, I'm looking at the numbers. They're pretty highly rated, but what would you say is the Niners' number one issue on offense?
I still think it's the red zone. Even though they were 3 for 5 in the red zone against the Seahawks, like when they score in the red zone, to me, it's so hard. It's like Brock Purdy throwing 35 yards across the field to the front pylon to George Kittle, who makes like a toe tap catch with a guy all over him. It's very difficult. Or it's like some trick play to Kyle Juszczyk. Like, where is just like the easy scores? Last year, it was just anytime they would give the ball to McCaffrey, he would score. Whether they hand it to him, they'd throw it to him. It was so easy to score in the red zone. Now it's like they don't really run for touchdowns very much anymore. And when they throw for him, it's like some tough pass to George Kittle in the back corner or the front corner, and he's heavily covered. It just seems too hard for a team that's this talented and this advanced schematically. I still think that's the issue, and we'll see how they do against Spagnuolo this week.
I agree that the red zone is the red zone the issue? Is the red zone numbers the results of other issues? It's like, is the O-line the issue? Is the relative lack of speed the issue? In the red zone, everything's magnified because the space gets shrunk down, right? So you either have to move people, or you have to have great quickness, or you got to have unbelievable play design or execution, or both, right? And that's, the thing that surprises me about the red zone struggles is not that the Niners are struggling. It's that Kansas City's 30th in red zone touchdown percentage. And I kind of think of Reed as just like the best red zone play caller I've maybe ever seen. He's just so good at devising, plans that all of a sudden the route combination, you think everything's going left and they're coming back right. It just seems like he's so good on the goal line of making you think, giving you one look and then go the other way. But yeah, I mean, I would say overall it's the offensive line is easy to blame, but I would say it's the lack of quickness. And I think also maybe Purdy, maybe the Niners have gotten a little bit complacent in the red zone because they had the ultimate red zone threat in McCaffrey. And when you have the ultimate red zone threat, maybe your timing, you're not as concerned about your timing. Maybe you're not as concerned about your play design, your route combinations, and all the different things that go into executing in the red zone. Maybe they're just not on their game as an offense because they've leaned so heavily on Christian. What do you think?
What I don't understand, I think that's part of it, clearly. But what I don't understand is I feel like they're like, why shouldn't Jordan Mason be a great goal line running back? I don't understand. He seems like he has the makings powerful. Of like a dominant red zone running back, but they're not running the ball well in the red zone. Is it him, or do they not? Are they not like, have they not found the concepts that fit with him in the red zone? Because it seems like he's really a good fit on zone blocking plays, but maybe when the field's compressed, you want to do like more gap scheme. I don't know what it is, but it just seems like they have no excuse. They have this incredible, powerful running back. They have all these weapons, and it's just too hard. When the closer they get, the harder it gets. It should be easy.
It's like they're not
every other
running
team
the
does
ball
it without Christian McCaffrey.
What's that?
Every other team manages to find a way to score without Christian McCaffrey. Like, figure it out.
Yeah, they're not running the ball in goal-to-go situations worth a damn at all. They're not running the ball. So Brendel, I don't think, is moving anybody in the run game. I think that's one thing up front. They also maybe don't have the quickest weapons of all time. I mean, I think you legitimately need some quickness. I'll tell you the one thing I'm really eager to see.
Are you saying that Ricky Pearsall is going to fix him?
I'm eager to see Ricky Pearsall. I'm eager to see Pearsall in the red zone because he seems almost like he's made for the red zone. Like, I think he might be able to get open in that short area, better than he can free himself up down the field. Because what I'm seeing, and granted, we've only seen a little bit, right? Because we haven't seen a lot of it. He's been out a lot. But what I saw in minicamp was a guy that was definitely had done some work with Purdy. They seemed like they were in lockstep. I also saw a guy that could free himself open in a short area and like underneath at the line of scrimmage, like at will. Like he's so quick and so great stop start. He seems like he can free himself open quickly. But where he seems to get covered again is then when he'll free himself up at the line on the line of scrimmage and then takes 3 strides down the field, and now that receiver or that corner eats that cushion back up. So I kind of wonder if he can maintain that separation throughout the entirety of the route. But Grant, I mean, I can't wait to see what Pearsall and Purdy do in the red zone, because Purdy plays on time and with accuracy. This kid can free himself up underneath really quickly. I think he could be the solution to the red zone problem. What do you think?
Maybe. I like what you're saying. I'm gonna take this a different direction. I'm gonna say something a little blasphemous, but bear with me here. Brock Purdy's a damn good quarterback. We all know this. He's not perfect. And if he has one weakness or deficiency, it would be arm strength. And I think clearly low red zone is the toughest area of the field to play quarterback. You need everything. And Brock doesn't have everything. He makes up for it and then some. But I think you see in the red zone his lack of arm strength. He can't just force the ball into tight windows. So you don't see him like trying to zip the ball over the middle into the end zone. It's more like to the corners, to the pylon, in front of the goal line, which is fine. But I think he has to own a little bit of it too. Like you take away the Christian McCaffrey cheat code, and all of a sudden his limitations are a little bit more apparent in the red zone. That's how I feel. I think he's part of it too.
Part of being, one of the ways you can get really good or execute in the red zone is if you can just laser it in there. And does he have the ability to laser it in there? No, I would say no. But the other thing is, it's like I haven't seen him make any of those anticipatory throws or throw anybody open or lead anybody to an open space. It's almost as if I kind of think that his running around is obviously done by necessity. But I think that when he gets in the red zone, that slowing down of his clock, if you will, hurts him in the red zone. I think it hurts him more in the red zone, because I think he's got to make plays on the other parts of the field, and maybe buying some time by moving around, it actually benefits him. But in the red zone, it becomes the play that's called in the huddle can't be executed. And then it's like, okay, now he's moving around, and the room's really, really, all that room's really condensed. The space is all condensed. I just think it becomes almost borderline impossible. If your first read's not there and you haven't designed anything by route combination, then all of a sudden you're just like, can Brock find the open guy before the defense gets to him? Just seems really problematic. I think he's accurate and he plays on time, but I think in the red zone, sometimes you just have to absolutely have arm talent, like crazy arm talent. And that's where one area where he doesn't have crazy arm talent.
I got one more thing too. I feel like this year is maybe the first year where NFL defensive coordinators have begun to catch up a little bit to the Shanahan offensive scheme. And not just Kyle, like around the league. I feel like the best offense in the league is in Detroit, and then Washington. That's Cliff Kingsbury. They got Baltimore up there, Buffalo's up there. I just feel like we've seen certain defensive coordinators sort of show a blueprint for how to stifle this particular scheme. And we saw Brian Flores do it to a bunch of guys. We've seen Spagnuolo do it. And I think that's a little bit part of it too. I think Kyle owns this as well.
I think that's fair.